All right, I have one last lesson for us, lesson 6 in our unit 0.5, our section 2 of unit 0, which is project-based learning. So this is an idea that, I don't have a title set for, I'm so sorry, but this is an idea that we address how we learn in a different manner than you might have traditionally done in or other classes. This is not specifically the modern classroom that we are doing, but something that is different from it. You can use them together, obviously, but let's talk about traditional school like you're used to. So you come in first day of class and you start memorizing concepts. You learn vocabulary, like what an integer is, or what mass is, or density, or whatnot. And then you learn procedures like how to add, how to subtract, how to read a passage, read a paragraph for what the main idea is. Then you practice those tools. I'm sure you had lots of worksheets when you're in elementary and middle school, but maybe even here in high school, but you would practice with these tools. Like you'd be practicing finding the main idea so you get better at it. You practice adding and subtracting to get better at it. And then you will use those tools in some way the teacher chooses. Often you do a quiz or a test. You might be assigned a project at the end of a unit where you are supposed to apply these tools in a way the teacher very specifically tells you how to do. And this is what usually happens, right? Maybe you see yourself in like a second or third row. But the results is that you often don't know why it matters. Why do I need to know what mass is? Why does density matter to me? Why do I care what integer is? Why does it matter sine, cosine, tangent? I don't care. And the practice is often kind of boring. You don't know why you're doing it. You don't see the goal at the end. So you just do the practice, and you find it really, really uninteresting. Practice on its own often is not the most interesting thing. Even if you want to be the best soccer player in the league, right? Dribbling the ball from one side of the field to the other and back is in its nature kind of boring unless you find a way to make it mean something to you. And then when the teacher gives you a problem that you don't care about, you don't want to solve it. You don't want to do the project on it very much. You just go through the motions if you want to get the grade, right? So this is how the PBL, the project-based learning method, is supposed to be different. So we have a problem to explore, and we have as much student choice as possible. This is not going to be necessarily the case in Unit 0, obviously, because it's not the regular content. But in the first unit for chemistry, physics, engineering, whatever class you're in, we start with the problem. What is the thing that you would be trying to solve, like an actual real problem, And you get to choose what part of that problem you're approaching, right? Then we go and find the tools. Okay, so if, to use it as an example, I'll go with physics. Just like, we're looking at safety systems inside cars and how people are still getting hurt and dying in cars. And so, how can we change that? How can we make it better? And so now we need to figure out what we need to understand. We need to research and discover the concepts in physics like force and mass and velocity, acceleration, these ideas that help us understand what happens in car crashes and why people are dying in them. And we learn the procedures like the formula that help us use those numbers to find out more information. And then we use those tools to solve the problem. Okay, now that we know all this physics knowledge, we can now figure out how to design a better seatbelt, a better airbag, better parts to a car that would potentially save more lives in that particular example. And the result, we hope, is that you want to solve the problem. You chose it, like it seemed interesting to you, and that makes it something you're more likely to get into. And then we want to find a solution. Now that you care about the problem, your sort of problem that you chose, you are invested in finding that solution. You're like, how do I solve this? Let's figure this out. And then you care about mastery of those tools because when I understand this formula, I can use that to figure this thing out that I need to figure out, right? That's what we want to get out of doing our project-based learning. Now, you might not believe me on this. You're like, why would I care? Is this going to actually mean anything to me, right? Who cares about all this stuff? Well, check the practice. There's a couple of videos to watch and some questions to answer about those videos. Work through the whole lesson. And then when you come to the mastery check, you can tell me whether you believe me or not, that this could be something different and something that's more interesting and fun to you than the traditional method of school. All right. Good job reaching the end of the unit 0.5, and I'll see you later.